Jamaica has provided a base in terms of being resilient, focus, understanding that by and large you have to work hard if you want to achieve something. The context in which I deliver my work is rooted in that old experience or the idiom of reggae and drums and bass and dance and storytelling, which by and large is coming from African folklore. I believe that the form has chosen me because I was never fond of poetry when I was growing up, to be honest. In high school, I started writing probably out of circumstance. I remember the first time I actually wrote something, I was missing my mother a lot. I wrote about that experience, and it felt good. That's really very profound. I remember that. It's resistance poetry, it's revolutionary poetry. It's poetry that basically highlights and give credence to the rhythm in words or the rhythm in language. As a writer, I have a responsibility now to engage my community in dialogue and say, look, wake up, man, this is happening. Can somebody at least address it? I'm quite satisfied right now that if I don't become rich from my work, what I will do is make sure that I create rich work. I do it because I know that it is really my role. This is what I think I was ordained to do. And every individual have a particular role that they have to carry out in life. And I think life is a search, and it's about finding yourself. And when we find ourselves and find our purpose, then you can start to really truly contribute to life. I think I found my purpose, and that's why I do what I do.
Là mày chụp học Trung Mạnh á, hay mày chụp Trung Mạnh à, sao?
Yes.
Yes. Cũng thì sẽ tụ Chủ nhật á, tụ lại bài Mỹ á, bài gì tụ Chủ nhật á? Tụ nhất là lại bài một.
Nhất là bài nhất giờ. Hôm nay 俾心機讀咯喎，識唔識寫啊？
你想學寫啊，學講啊？
講。
淨係想學講嘅係咪啊？
講同埋寫啊。問你第日讀辦理嗰陣時啊，你或者翻去 China 嗰度做嘢啊嘛。
佢幾時翻去 China？
哦，你隨時可以翻㗎。
I remember we used to put our toys together and create this weird kind of metropolis world. I remember I had my Barbies, you had your Hot Wheel cars, and we had these like hand-me-down kind of play sets. It was like this parking garage with those ramps, and you could take your cars and they could go down the ramps. Like those were always fun. How old are you turning? You're turning
17.
18. No, you're turning 18.
I'm joking.
You're turning 18 and I'm 21. 21 minus 18, that's 3 years, right? In terms of like communicating with each other, it was always English because we were a pretty small family. Like our parents had to work, both of them, so we had each other to rely on. Like I don't even remember us talking to each other in Chinese. It's very unnatural to like speak in Chinese with each other. 你幾時返學嘅？聽日？
我唔知道。
但係呢度咧就佢哋由細到大讀英文多，中文咧佢就細個嗰陣時，因為又唔係幾努力去讀啦，所以咧讀到嗰啲咧都唔記得啦。至到後嚟又冇繼續去讀啦，咁咪所以咪接觸唔到，即係溝通唔到。
In terms of like the next generation and how I'd want to raise my kids, I would want them to speak Chinese because if anything for like the benefit of my mom, I want her to be able to communicate with my kids and vice versa.
You wish you could go back and change things, but what's done is done and you can't really, you can regret it, you can look back on it, but you can't do anything about it.
This documentary is kind of like a stepping stone. Yeah, this is something we probably should do while we have the opportunity to.
希望對佢嚟講係有啲作用同埋反映中國人 喺加拿大嘅生活環境，同埋普通嘅家庭啊，即係普遍存在呢啲咁嘅問題，唔係單止係我哋一個家庭係咁樣嘅情形。
Be aware that you have to push yourself to learn certain things. You have to interact with your family one way or another. You have to exercise your language. Even if you are an expert now, you still have to exercise it. You have to learn. If there's a language course and you're not that good, you should probably take it. Because your family is going to be with you for the long run. You have to be able to talk to your parents. You have to interact with your family, and you can't do that with broken sentences for the rest of your life. It's depressing being in a family, not being able to communicate, not being involved in each other's lives that way, because like a lack of communication, it's the start of separation. It's like the start of a family kind of breaking down, if not being together, because we'll always be together. It's just that language, it's like that link, you know? And if you don't have the link, it's just people in a room not being able to understand each other. And, you know, that's pretty depressing.
The molestation went on for from when I was 7 years old to about 12 years old, I'd say, 5 years.
Well, I was always cautious about having him around the girls or around the kids.
His name is Grant, aka Praying Mantis. Grant is the type of person who is very articulate, very smart, seemingly always willing to be there and help you and be the provider. He wants to be your God. What I want, the most thing that I want now is to have my past erased. I wish I had no memory of it, so I can go on living like a strong person. I won't have to look down when I'm walking on the street or not want to make eye contact with people because I'm scared about what they'll think of me.
We try to separate ourselves from people who are sex offenders, but when you look closely, it is us.
When I walk down the street and I look into houses and apartments, every time I think, how many people, how many families out there in those units have stories?
I think it helps for anybody to be educated about any topic. It gives those who are victimized and those who are offenders a better opportunity to be treated without having to cover up who they are.